All right. So in the building right now, we've got TO's finest, TO and Master Plan Show, Generation Next Legend. We got Tough Dumplin in the building. Tough Dumplin,
Yeah,
how's it
yeah.
going, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy to be back in the city.
It's about time you step back into the city. So it's been a long time. How long you been out of the city for, man?
Since 2005. So I left and moved to New York in 2005.
You still in New York?
Still in New York. Now I'm between New York and Philadelphia, but I'm in both spots, Philly and New York. Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy.
How was the transition from Toronto to New York?
Phew. That transition was interesting because it was like the first year it was kind of panicky, just waiting on paperwork because you got to wait for that green card and shit. So I'd be like sitting there like, yo, you think you think we're going to get it? Which was funny because the funny story of me is like we got a grant for me to do some music project with these kids. And it was funny because it said the Canadian government something on the check. And then I had to sign it over to make this check out to America government something. And it was like, that was my literally transition between, this was like taking the Canadian government money or signing it over to the American government.
It's like you guys do business already. It's free trade. It's free trade.
Moving there the first year was kind of like, it was different, but I was lucky because I moved in Flatbush and all the Jamaicans were there. So it was like second home. I didn't have to I was worried about the card going through, but just the vibes, it felt like Eglinton on crack. It was like nothing but Jamaican. Like, when people go to Eglinton, you have 3 or 4 blocks of that hardcore Caribbean vibe.
Yeah.
And then to have it for like 10 miles, it's just like, what?
So here's a question for you. When you got to New York, what did you do to actually start dealing with music?
All right. The reason I'm laughing is because it started at Jamaican restaurant. So I'm in a Jamaican restaurant and this guy, he's like talking about music and making records. And I was like, yeah, I do music too. So while we're in the Jamaican restaurant, I gave him a CD. We still had CDs back then. So he played the CD and he's like, yo, this is nice. And he's like, yo, could you record? I'm like, yeah, I mix records, record the whole 9. And then that started a movement in Flatbush because everybody go to Jamaican restaurant. They be talking about studio and recording. And they're like, yo, there's a dude, he's from Toronto named Tough Dumplin. He's just up the road. He has a studio. So literally, the Jamaican restaurants was sending artists to my crib. all Flatbush.
Okay, but at the same time, I know everybody in T-Dot knows you as Collision. But
Yeah.
on the American side, you want to tell everybody how... Right now,
Okay.
I just hear Tough Dumplin.
All right, so how Tough Dumplin got started was the Beats. I used to give out the Beats tape in New York, and they always say, yo, you're listening to a Tough Dumplin Beats. So when people introduce me, they're like, yo, this is Tough Dumplin Beats. And so the name on Flatbush was Tough Dumplin Studio or Tough Dumplin Beats. No one had a reason to say Collision because there was no Collision. I wasn't rapping on the tracks. They were just instrumental, so we'd always say Tough Dumplin Beats. And so after that, everybody started calling me Tough Dumplin based off the beats. And what really kicked it off was I was in the studio with Redman and one of the guys from Artifacts. I can't remember which guy from Artifacts it was. But they got a hold of the beat tape, and I was in the studio, and I introduced myself to Redman. I go, hey, my name is Collision. And then one of the guys from Artifacts come in. He's like, yo, this is Tough Dumplin Beats. I'm like, I just introduced myself for Collision, and this guy just said Tough Dumplin. So I knew it was going to just... it doesn't matter say, especially if it's coming out of Redman mouth. He was just like, yo, this is Tough Dumplin. But that's literally when I was just like, I just got to stick with the name because no one would call me Collision if all the beat tapes are saying Tough Dumplin. It didn't make any sense.
For sure, man. You were saying earlier about how in what were you saying? Flatbush, Brooklyn is kind of like Eglinton on crack, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
How would you say that sonically they're different? The Jamaican influence in the music on the TO side and the New York side.
That's interesting because they have. I think they're pretty much the same. I think the crossover would have been that the hip hop and reggae back and forth was more consistent. Like someone will play reggae and then they'll play hip hop all day and go back and forth. Sometimes I found in Eglinton they didn't want to hear hip hop. They want to stay straight roots music all day long, and you can't get them to switch over back and forth. I found Flatbush was more. They'll kill, Barry Salmon and all those all day long, and then play a Mary J. Blige the next day. And I'm just like, you listen to Mary J. Blige, you like it doesn't. And so I thought the way they switched up worked. They were more back and forth with the different genre. Versus Toronto was always like, no, this is underground, or this is. They didn't have a fluid transition between what they were listening to. It's either this or that.
Yeah, they kind of just saw it all as music. They're a
Yeah,
bit
there's
more
like
accepting.
if I'm on the ground, I'm on the ground all day. I'm not gonna listen to reggae. Versus they were like they'll listen to reggae, they listen to R&B, and they could do it straight. Like my neighbor played R&B the first month. I never knew they liked reggae. And then one day something happened and all they played was reggae. And I was like, that's weird, because I would not know that you went through like every single R&B record for a month straight. No other genre. And all of a sudden it's roots reggae for the rest of the summer, And so, they had vibes like that definitely on Flatbush.
So for people who may not know, tell us a little bit about before 2005 when you were in a group with another artist named Quezro.
Yeah. So we started way back. There was a program called Fresh Arts, and DJ Don D of the Far East, he was a part of Fresh Arts. And so we used to just make beats all the time. And at the time, Socrates, Cardinal, Shaw Claire, they would have these jam sessions. Little X was there. Little X, the director, used to do poetry back then. I didn't even know him as a director until like fast forward a couple years later. But yeah, we used to make beats, and I remember going in the studio and Socrates and who's the engineer for Drake now? What's his name? He's the engineer for Socrates too, from back in the day. They were all in the studio, and I remember playing beats for them, and they're like, yo, this is wicked. This is dope. And then I was like, I kind of don't want to like sit here. I didn't want to produce for their crew. I wanted to start my own crew. So then I was like, maybe I'll just start up my own thing. And then I was at school, and Quezro heard me rapping because I used to rap the morning announcements. But I used to rap in patois so the teachers couldn't understand me, and the whole school would just be laughing. So like I'll start out with what we were gonna do for the day, and then I go in a deep patois talking about where you could smoke, and the teachers would have no clue. So everybody got a kick out of it. So it became this style where everybody was just like, did you hear that? The teachers have no clue what he's saying, and no one rapped me out the whole time. And so back then, everybody was in a different category. So I was in the category of the freshies. And the freshies are the people who just came from Jamaica. They can't really fit in anywhere. But because of my jokes, Quezro was like with the hip hop dudes. They're like, yo, he's got skills. He's funny, but he got skills. And that's how me and Quezro kind of paired. Because Quezro was like a straight lyricist. So when we were back and forth in school, I'll just always have the West Indian jokes, and then he'll go on about slaughtering MCs, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll just come in for like, initially, I was going to be joke relief. Our album was kind of structured like Public Enemy, where I was just going to be Flavor Flav, Whereas like I was going to do Aki and Banana. Every line I just say is Aki and Banana and I leave, And so... So that was kind of like the vibe, where it was more a jokey joke thing. And then right after that, word was still going around from me and Don D making beats that, oh, yo, you guys got some dope beats. And so Motion we linked with Motion. Motion came by the crib to hear some tracks, and I played her the Nefarious demo tape. And she was like, yo, this is good. Could I play it on my show? And I was like, yeah, that's going to be dope. And then she's like, yeah, I'm doing an all Canadian show. And I was like, I want to play when Jay-Z and Nas is playing. I don't want to play with the all Canadian show. So I told her, I changed my mind, and I said, Motion, forget it.
So that really started the jokes between me and Tough Dumplin, back and forth, coming down to the Master Plan show. Sometimes he will come down, he'll ride his bike down, right? And he would question me all the time. He's like, yo, DTS, if I stole this crate of record, would you still play my record? I go, it all depends if your record is in the crate, what you took. So I think one of the most biggest thing for me is seeing you guys really embody the freestyle on the Master Plan show. And I think that was maybe one of the last time he was on the Master Plan show.
Yeah, it was literally, so Motion played the track. Well, so what happened was, I told Motion, forget it. This was a Tuesday. The Wednesday, Quezro calls me and is like, yo, how are we going to turn down not being on the radio? Like, that's dumb. Just do the show. So I go, okay, I'm going to rap about why I don't want to be on the radio. So that's when I start to rap about every rapper in Toronto. You suck, I don't want to hear you, because I knew they were all listening. And then I gave the tape to Motion. Motion played it. She's like, I don't know if I could play this. And I was like, well, it's up to you. You said you would play a record. I give you a record.
And I have to say, the quality was trash.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was
trash. Because we recorded on the 4
trash.
track. It wasn't mixed. It was.
But it was nothing but pure jokes. And the one thing what I like about it, it just embodied like what hip hop is. You're being on the block, you're standing on your square. Yeah. You're just like, yo, you stay on your square. You can pop all your jokes you want. You cross that line, it's on. But right now, all the jokes are there, and I feel that the evolution of making sure there's a platform for all of you young artists was the biggest part of doing the show, and recognizing that this platform is for everybody. Because I find like at a certain time there was a certain kind of bias in Toronto as far as artists getting played. Yeah. So we made it a strong point to play everybody equally. As long as your music is dope, we don't care about your politics or what crew you're with or what you're doing. Your music is dope. It should be played. You send it to us. You support us. We're going to support you. Yeah. Now, talking about that, let everybody know about your little trip to New York and you ending up meeting who? Madonna's manager?
Okay. Wait, we're skipping so much part of the story. All right, let me jump. So we get in the car. We're trying to get to the border. Well, we're trying to get to New York. But the thing is, we never had a plan for New York. We just said, let's go to New York. We had a friend that we might stay by. They said, all right, cool, come by, whatever. We get to New York. We're in New York, and we're like, yo, we should go to Rockefeller Records. And then it was like, well, how are we going to get into Rockefeller Records? Someone suggested, well, say you are from a radio show. And so I was like, the Master Plan.
You joker.
So we downstairs, and we roll up, and we're at the front desk. I called somebody from Canada, and I was like, do you know anybody from Rockefeller that we could mention their name and say we're getting records from? They give us a name, and we get to the front desk. We're like, yo, is Charles there? And it's like, Charles, who are you? And I was like, I'm from the Master Plan show, and we're here to pick up records so we could play them in Toronto. And the lady goes, hold on. And 10 minutes go by, and we're like, shit, it didn't work. And then she goes right this way, and we're like, oh, shit. So we get up to Rockefeller, and it's Memphis Bleak. He's sitting on a couch right in front of the doors when we walk in. And the secretary introduces us. Hey, these are DJs from Toronto. They're here to get new records. And Memphis was like, yo, dope, you want to drop? And I was like, yo, I might have the drop for you. It's going to be like tough. No, it was Collision from the Master Plan show. So then they gave us a bunch of records. I think they gave us the ODB record. They just gave us and so we're waiting to get more records. So we're sitting down next to this guy, and he's like, oh, what do you guys do? And we're like, yo, we're DJs from Toronto. We got like the biggest, longest running hip hop show of all time in Toronto. Like, if you need music, we got your back. He doesn't send us music. He's like, oh, that's dope. That's really cool. And I was like, so what do you do? He's like, oh, I just manage. I'm like, all right, cool. And then we were a few minutes went by. I was like, look, if you got music, just let me know. We're here to collect music. And he's like, all right, cool. Madonna's got a show, and you know, I'm a manager. So if you need anything from me, Madonna is in town next week. And I was like, oh, that's dope. He's like, look, backstage, front stage, I got you. Just call me.
Word.
And then that's how we got in. My whole crew made it in the Madonna concert. I was still in New York, but everybody else that was with me got to go in. And they're like, yo, we're in VIP with Madonna, yo. I was like, just make sure they don't find out Master Plan, because they're going to kill my ass because we use their name.
But the funniest thing about it is it's like going to New York is a different flex, because when you're there, everybody gravitate to you because you're from somewhere else
yeah.
doing hip hop. And I find like by going to the New Music Seminar and going to all of these different shows. I was at the last Brand Nubian show.
Oh, yeah?
Right. De La Soul was headlining. They had Leaders of the New School, KMD. You also had De La Soul.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. That show was crazy, but it's the network.
Yeah.
It's the network, or just being at Electric at Rockefeller Plaza when Pete Rock and CL Smooth all sold out EP.
Yeah.
Before they really dropped their real album.
Mm-hmm.
And CL is just like, yo, what is Toronto like? Like,
yeah.
You know, like for real, like you guys are doing this or what?
No, that was the vibe. The
Yeah.
moment we said Toronto, everybody looked up. It's like, yo, Toronto is in the building, and they're going player music. And I was just like, all right, look, I got you. And the thing is, I was gonna just show up to the radio show and give you all the records. But then I was just like, maybe I could use it again. I didn't want to bait myself out.
It's okay, but that's why we say from the community by the community.
But yeah, so then this was what the trick is. When I actually moved there, it had the same kind of vibe. Considering I was there, the first record I after I mixed everybody, I was mixing Junior Reed. So when Junior Reed came to the studio, I was mixing down a lot of dub plates for Hot 97. And here's how it works. He gets in around 3 or 4, and then he finishes around 6. I have 2 hours to mix the song before it gets to Hot 97 for Funk Master Flex to play it. And it was like a religion, like mixing it. And at the time, his song was number 1 with The Game. He had One Blood, and Dr. Dre produced it. And that week was crazy because I'm mixing down tracks for Hot 97. He's number 1 on BT. While he's at my house, he gets a call from Puffy to do something. And I'm like, yo, I'm in Flatbush right now with Junior Reed mixing his record. He's on my TV. Puffy's on the phone. And I'm like, So then Puffy says, yo, Junior Reed, come by. I need something for something. Junior Reed leaves, and I go, why don't you just record your whole thing at Puffy? He's like, no, man, you have the vibe, man. You have the vibe. And I was like, all right. And this is on Flatbush, a small room. So for him to go to Puffy's house and come back, I was like, yo, this is something else. And so that whole week was like a crazy week, because then the next day, I got a call and someone's looking for someone to do sound. And I was like, yeah, I do sound. I engineer. I mix. Well, there was a confusion. They meant sound for film. And it was a mix-up. And so I jump on. They tell me the budget So I hear the budget now going, shit, I want this money. I want to learn whatever. So I called my boy and I was like, yo, you know how mics and everything works for film? Because they think I'm a sound engineer for film. So he's like, yo, so I jumped on YouTube, look up some tutorials, and then I called him up. But he's like, yeah, accept the job. I go in now with my phone set on the YouTube so I can know how to use the lavalier and the whole nine. They take my phone. And I'm like, yo, will you take my, like, so they took everybody's phone. The project that they called me in for was a TV show pilot they're running with celebrities on their dancers. And I had to do sound for Beyonce. So literally, that was the first live sound thing that I had to do was for Beyonce and the backup dancers. And so I walked into this storm of like, wait, I gotta pin the mic on who? And so yeah, and the thing is, it was a pilot to pitch for another show. If the show would have went through, the next person was Jennifer Lopez and Mariah Carey on her dancers and Jennifer Lopez on her dancers. I would have ended up mixing all of, if the pilot would have went through, I would have ended up doing sound for all the top celebrities. And it's just so random that I got the Beyonce one. And then a Bollywood movie came up, and I didn't know they were looking for some sound for movie. But when I saw that paycheck, I was like, let me see what other movie stuff is out there. And a person hit me up from Bollywood like, yo, we saw Beyonce on your resume. And I was like, yeah, I did sound. So they put me straight in this Bollywood film. And I'm like, it's the same budget as a Hollywood film, just so you know. Bollywood, it's the same budget as if it was in Hollywood. So when I show up, I'm doing sound for this movie, and because it's Bollywood and some of the actors weren't fluent in English, I was like the translator for all the major actors and the camera guy. So that's what actually taught me a lot about the film industry. So when I came out, I was like, yo, I got fast tracked into this film industry that is mad expensive. You need so much schooling to get it, and I literally walked in through the side door on this like accidental journey. And so that's pretty much what set me up for the independent world with the independent film is that fast track through that Beyonce project that led to the Bollywood project.
I know we've been talking about everything else except your music, but at the same time, you had a short film out. You want to tell everybody about that short film?
Yeah, so it's a short film with a collective that I work with out in Brooklyn, and we did a film called Divide. And basically, we all worked on it together, and one of the guys in the crew wrote the whole story from top to end. But it was one of those films when we went out to try to get actors, we were dealing with a lot of older actors. There was a lot of older people, like 60, 70 up. And they told us that they've never seen a black production team. And we were shocked because we're in New York. So we're like, yo, you never seen an like director, sound guy, the whole nine. And I was just like, yo, we're on another territory here. Because people weren't even sure about the film at first, you know? And so it was one of those things where people walked in and they're like, wait, why are they all black people here? I was just like, no, we're putting on the film, you know? And so it changed. I feel like everybody, the actors we chose, they were bigger names in some other the movies that they were doing, and they kind of took a risk with coming in their film because they were just like, we've never done this. The film ended up winning like 13, 14 awards right across the world, from Europe to Jersey to Miami. It was just winning awards left, right, and center. And so it set me up like to do mini docs and shoot all kinds of stuff. So it was just a perfect setup. But yeah, you got to shout out Film Cloud Studio, and yeah, the film is called Divide. It'll probably be out next year. Right now, they're trying to do a long version of the film. It's actually a short film right now. So they're actually currently working on a bigger production to make it a full production film.
Nice. How does that work? Do they going to take any of the existing footage and just build on it, or are they going to shoot?
No,
something
they
straight
actually
from
had
scratch?
to rewrite the script based on what we have
Oh,
to
okay.
build out. So it's a whole process, like script writing. It was funny because dealing with actors is it's just another thing. I try to stay with the technical, the editing, the color grading, but dealing with actors and making sure the drama is right, I try to leave that with the rest of the crew because you could be at that all day long, trying to get the right vibe and temperature for acting.
Okay, let's talk about some fun.
All right, cool.
And the fun stuff is during COVID, me and you spoke a lot on the phone and different things.
Yeah.
And you told me you're doing your film stuff. And I was like, but you're a producer, dude. Where's some of the beats? I go,
Yeah.
give me something. What you think sonically should be playing out here now?
Yeah.
And
And-
since then, what has happened?
First track was No Music Industry, and that set up a whole slew of Welcome to the True North. So No Music Industry started, and everybody's like, yeah, we got to roll with this and make this bigger. And then that got done, and by the time I look, I had 10, 12 songs recorded. So then I just put out a Tough Dumplin album. And then it just kept going back and forth. Then Len Bowen album, he hit me up and he's like, "Yo, I got these. I need some tracks. Let's get at it." Banged out his album, then Mindbender, and then Mindbender's single, and so everything just lined. Everything just fell in. And the thing is, I've done production for film and sound, and the whole funny thing is that when I dropped No Music Industry is actually one of my first videos. I directed it, and I'm actually, from the time Nefarious came out till then, that was the first music video. So from 1995, 2001 is when I dropped the first music video. So think about it. My name it's based off the 10-inch. It's just a 10-inch that we ran with, and I've never had a music video. So to launch it, I was just like, oh, this is crazy. And then I had my team. My team was the film production team I've been working with. They saw the video and they're like, yo, you rap? Like they did. So the film world didn't know I rap. So when they saw these videos coming out, they're the ones who shot What Is a Duppy? And they're like, yo, are you acting? No, I used to rap. I just still have the skills to rap. So it was funny to see New York kind of flip because I literally became the film guy after a few years. So it was interesting to see the whole film community go, you know, he raps? And then everybody in Toronto was like, you know, he does film? Like it was it's kind of cross.
It was kind of cross. It was kind of cross. I know you also have some music what charted in the UK because
That too.
right because the same thing is like everybody knows me for hip hop, but they don't know me for dubstep or EDM or even rare groove or some of the other genres.
Yeah.
I go out and play, but you sent me some joints where it's just like I was like, yo, this is sick. This
Yeah.
is sick. It's world music to me
Yeah.
compared to a signature T Dot or typical American track. Who have you been working with?
As far as the latest projects,
Yes.
okay, the latest projects is pretty much the Len Bowen album. That was the last real focus of energy because it's the album that I had to take from top to bottom. Like I mixed, master the whole record. And it was one of those things where I dropped my album and I wanted it to have its own sound. I didn't want someone to hear it and go, this is, yeah, you could tell it's a Tough Dumplin record. Most people hear that record, without the Tough Dumplin in the intro, you'd never know I produced it. So my whole approach was playing with Sonic and bringing a new Sonic signature to the game because I felt like it needed, like DTS said it best. He's like, what's the evolution do you think should be heard right now? And that's how I went in the mindset of producing the record was I needed an evolution. And one thing I liked about Len Bowen, he's a storyteller. And I liked it because it was simple stories. They weren't complex, but I could build this whole epic beat around the story that he was, bringing to life. And I think the combination of that record, I was really happy with that record because so many people heard it when I was making it, and they were kind of like, you did all these beats? They sound good, but they don't sound like your typical beats. And so it opened up a floodgates of, everybody going, well, could we get that sound, And yeah, so I was really excited with that project. And then Mindbender, he needed a single, and he was just like, I need something with a funky groove, something with like a 1-2 step. And Mindbender was funny because he called me up on like, I like your beats, but I'm gonna try not. I'm gonna dig hard for this beat. I need this, and I sent him the first beat, and he's like, shit, I gotta take that one. It's the one. Cause he wanted to turn down a few, so he could be like, nah, that ain't right. That ain't. But he was always like, you got it on the first take, and then that ended up being a single. And then keep in mind, he has a double album. So for me to make the single off a double album that's almost done was kind of like far-fetched that I got it on the first try.
You shout out to Mindbender, King of Queen Street record.
Yep.
A couple weeks ago here.
Yeah.
Talk about like from your time working in film and then getting back into music. Was there anything you learned from that industry that helped you come back?
Totally. Because for film, you have to deal with so much emotion, and there's a lot of layers that you got to deal with in terms of building a scene. And so I was doing a lot of sound. There's a lot of TV shows. I did a lot of TV shows from the 90s in Toronto, like TV show Traders, Blue Murder. A lot of people don't know I was on there because it was like back then you didn't want to be known to be underground and commercial. So, I mean, I remember doing the Traders commercial, but they had to use my voice. And people were in school going, I think I heard your voice on a commercial. And I'll be like, nah, it wasn't me. But my voice is kind of distinct, and I would try to be hiding it in commercials. But yeah, I always had a back end working on films. So when I came, even Len Bowen's record, it's literally cinematic because there's so many layers. When people, I read the articles and they're like, the beats just keep switching up and they're so unpredictable. And it's basically, I took the same knowledge that I got from film and arranged that way in the hip hop production, which most people, once you hear the loop, the way you hear it from the first 2 bars, it's the same right to the end. With my records, you don't know what's going to come in the middle or at the end. So that was the approach.
I remember meeting you a few years ago, and I was asking you about some pointers for beats, and I remember you telling me, like, we used to do this thing where we'd spend a minute flat.
Yes.
And we'd go back and forth, beat for beat. I
Yeah.
forget who the other artist you said that you were doing that with.
Yeah, it was a couple of cats out in a Kitchener that I roll with, and they were all beat makers, and we just sit around, and we got a minute to make a beat. We all use the same sample, and whoever could bang it out was, and it was tough. It got tough. The trick that I learned was if you get your drums right, you become untouchable. And so I always figured out how to make my drums loud. And so even if I didn't chop the sample right, the drums had you. Versus they'll go and tinker with some mediocre drum just trying to get the loop right. And I was like, nah, if you just even use 2 seconds and the drum hits, someone's going to say the beat's better because their head start nodding. And so that's a way to cheat in that game. If anybody wants to play that right now, work on your drums first, knock that out. And
that's hard to imagine, too, back in the 90s. Like, the equipment was a bit more clunkier, like, in terms of trying to do what you wanted to do. Like, to me, that's mind-blowing. Like, a minute for a beat.
Yeah, there was a lot of the samplers didn't have that much time. I had the SP1200, and it literally had, like, 10 to 5 seconds. I think something like 5 seconds in each key. And you couldn't just chop it afterwards. It's just you have to chop it while it's playing. Like, hold the record, let it go, press sample, and then let it go.
You
like,
couldn't edit the cuts.
You couldn't edit the cuts.
Wow.
You had to edit holding the record. And so
you're like, you're constantly moving your hand. And it's like, hit it now.
Hit it now.
So all those snare chops, the kick drops, they're all actual. Just they're there like cutting the record as like a DJ almost.
Yeah. And so what I did, production style, I only cut drums for 5 months straight.
Holy cow.
Cut 5 months to spend. I tell anybody this: if you want to make sure your drums knock, Spend 5 months. Don't worry about samples. Just spend 5 months. All you do is cut every single drum and then figure out the drum combination between kick and snare that works. Once you have that, you're set. Any sample that comes, it's either the sample is whack, but it's never the drums. And then you're good.
Nice. Yo, thank you so much for coming through, man. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate the work you're putting out there too, man. Do you have any advice for any artist who's starting out right now?
The only advice is just you got to come up with something unique and keep pushing through, because I feel like everybody's kind of following the status quo of the same kind of auto-tune sound, and I feel like if you could establish your own identity, that's the first thing, and then push that, and then I think it'll get you far. And I got one more note I want to point out. I gotta say rest in peace to Quezro. We never touched on that, but rest in peace to Quezro. And yeah, we did the freestyle on the Master Plan show, and we were on fire that night. I just remember me and Quezro being on fire, and we were like, yo. And then we met with a guy that week who was about to sign us to give us the deal, and he literally passed the next month after. So it was one of those, and Quezro was one of those guys who wanted it. He wanted to be on TV. He wanted to be on the cover of magazine. Literally, he passed, and then I'm on the cover of Now magazine, and I'm on Much Music performing in a front of crowd. Like, everything he wanted happened literally within that year, but he just wasn't around to see it. So it was a sad time for me because I was excited and sad at the same time, but I knew if he was here, that's his energy, and that's what he wanted to put out. So
for me, being in studio when that was happening, taking the picture and stuff like that, because after he passed on, I passed on those pictures to Motion and everybody else to use. I don't even have a copy now.
Wow.
But at the same time, I have to share with you, I've been down at the Master Plan show for 34 years. Nobody has matched that energy and freestyle. A lot of people have come in and they pieced a lot of different songs, what they have already written.
Yeah.
But that be what we gave you guys.
Yeah, it was. It was
and from there, it was just like hip hop church in the making.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, continue on your endeavors, what you're doing, and like I told you, go master your plan.
Yeah.
Right. So eventually, I'm gonna have you on my podcast, which is the After Plan.
All right. I'm
Okay.
down. I'm down, and I'll keep using your name to get free records. I mean, unless you come to New York.
It's all good. It's all good. Because in some way, shape, or form, it will come back to the nest.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I think we should end this interview with the track by Len Bowen, Toast Up. Do you mind sending this one off for the city?
All right, yo, here's a new track from Len Bowen featuring the Aki and Banana himself, Tough Dumplin, Toast Up. You got it right here on the Master Plan show. You done know. Gone. Big up.